Hi guys, how are you?
Hi. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, hello.
Thank you for being here to have this chat today. Before we start talking about the new project you've been working on, I'm just going to give you a few seconds to, people might know you, but just going to give you a few seconds to introduce yourselves. Elio, if you want to go first.
Hello, I'm Elio from Belgium, and I'm the solutions architect here at PointFire.
Among a lot of other projects alive.
I'm Martin Laplante. I'm CEO of Icefire, which is a maker of the PointFire product.
I'm Stephanie, marketing manager at Bonfire. So let's dive in. So I'll just let you do the honors. Martin, do you want to just tell us what it is?
Sure. It's a search-based summarization. So it's a search summary. So when you carry out a search in SharePoint, normally what you get is a long list of documents and some little snippets that are generally not terribly relevant. And then you have to figure out which ones you want to open. What we're doing is having an extension on this where you get a summary and of each of the documents, and it'll tell you what the document says about that search query. Not a general summary, but specifically says what that document says about that search query.
Okay, so it's not a general summary of every document. It's exactly what you search for and what every document says about what you search for.
That's right.
That's convenient. That's pretty cool. And what got you to think about doing something like this?
Well, I was involved in summarization research about 20 years ago. And when I read up on the current research literature and what Microsoft was doing, I was surprised to see that some of the same algorithms are being used 20 years later. Until about a year or so ago, when we started seeing some better algorithms, and I thought, well, that has a useful application in search. And these are applications that aren't being used, that Copilot doesn't have. These are things that SharePoint Premium isn't going to have because it is real-time, dynamic, based on what you just said.
Okay, pretty cool. And so since we're talking about this, let's go more into the technology of all of this. So what technology are we using and how did that come about?
So for the technology, we are using a PnP Search because it's a quite very often used tool on SharePoint Online for searching your content and for the extensibility. And the cool part of PnP Search is the extensibility. They have an extensibility library where you can hook into. So we build our own custom extensibility templates, plus also some components and stuff that hooks up to Azure OpenAI. So we are using Azure OpenAI that is then hosted on your tenants for generating these queries. So we look at the documents, we extract the right sentences. So we are not sending all of the document information because that would be typically too much, but we extract the right sentences based on what you're looking for or searching for. We send that over to OpenAI, and then OpenAI comes back with an answer, and that's what you get rendered in SharePoint Online.
Okay, pretty cool. And so what do users need to do to set this up on their sites?
If they want to start using it, first of all, they require an OpenAI service. So they need to go to their Azure account and create an OpenAI service, deploy the right models over there. If they already have the PnP Search web parts on their tenant installed, then they don't have to install that anymore. If they don't, they have to install that, plus also our extensibility library. And then it's just a matter of configuration. It's setting up the key, the URL of your OpenAI service, and selecting the right templates, and they are up to go.
Okay. And I imagine developing something that complex wasn't an easy task, but what would you say was the most challenging part of this project?
The biggest challenge, I think, was, some of the documents can be rather large, and extracting the right sentences, giving enough information about your search query, about the documents, is the key aspect in this. So we've done a lot of work around extracting of the right sentences based on keyword extraction, stemming, and so on. Now we are retrieving that information and then sending it over to OpenAI, and OpenAI does the rest of the magic. So it's all about these algorithms Martin was talking about. So,
And imagine the summaries are pretty short, so they're 2-3 line sentences, no matter how big the document is. Okay.
correct.
And
Yeah. But Elio is making it sound a little too simple. The truth is, we had to develop some algorithms. We tried out several techniques. Some of them didn't work really well. So Azure had a new API in preview. We tested it extensively. We set the two algorithms, well, one against the other. And in the end, we're working with OpenAI, which wasn't terribly good at the beginning, but we found ways to improve it. While the other Azure API, what we did to improve it wasn't sufficient. So there was a fair bit of R&D and developing our algorithms before we get to the point where we say, okay, connect OpenAI, send it there, and Bob's your uncle. There's a lot of pre-processing even before we go there.
Okay. And Martin, what stage is the app in now? Is it ready for general use?
The app right now is in closed preview. There are some search experts that have asked for early access to it, and we will be getting their feedback. And we want to make it not just about the technology, even though the technology is really cool. We want to make it really useful. We want to make a difference in people's lives. We want to make their jobs easier. We know that searching in SharePoint is frustrating. You look for things and they don't necessarily show up, or you see a bunch of documents and there's no way to know whether the document is relevant until you open up the document, search inside the document, and find out that it's not relevant at all.
And I imagine it's true for orgs that have a lot of very large libraries, and you're looking through tons and tons of documents as well.
There are lots of use cases. There's some use cases with large libraries. There are some use cases where you're searching through a familiar set of things, but you're just looking for that one piece of information. You're not quite sure where it is. So we're trying to make it general enough to address a lot of different use cases for search and to save people a lot of time.
And if somebody wants to access the closed early version access, can they go about that?
Yeah, there's a page on our site where you can go and ask, or just contact us directly. And
we're gonna link to that on the video so that people can find it. Okay, super. And Elio, I'm sure there's, knowing you and knowing Martin, the team working on this, I'm sure there's a lot of things you would want to add to this app. Can you give us a sneak peek of what's on the wish list and in the works?
Yeah, first of all, we are looking forward to the feedback that we are getting from clients or potential clients that are going to test out the tool. So I think that's one of the things that we are looking forward to. Currently, we are looking for testing it with multiple languages. In the early beta, it looks pretty nice, so that you can search for content and your summaries come back in your own language. So it's much easier to understand the documents or what you're looking for, even if the document is not in your own language written. So pretty nice fine-tuning guides of how can it be better in the future. And then something else that we are thinking about is the search results themselves and the queries, how we can improve that on that side. So these are the things that we are currently, or analysts, thinking about.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So this is it for my questions about all of this. Does anybody want to add anything we should know about this?
You got something, Martin? You're always full of ideas with these things. So
I'm always full of ideas, and I had lots of ideas 30 seconds ago. But just to expand on the last thing that Elio said, what we're doing right now, the technology works just on the results set. We're allowing SharePoint to carry out the search, bring back the documents, and then our algorithm gets to work on summarizing those documents. Something that we could be doing, because we're doing that processing, is actually improving the search results, improving the ranking, fetching different documents that are more relevant. And that's something that we will be doing in the future. But for now, we're working with SharePoint Search. It's possible to expand it to other types of search. So it's relatively straightforward to search your emails, to search Teams, to search OneDrive, or even other repositories information. We're starting out something which is SharePoint specific because That's where a lot of information is, but this is applicable to other types of search, other types of documents.
So who do you think would be the types of organizations? I know that a lot of types of companies and a lot of organizations actually use SharePoint as an intranet, but who would, in your opinions, would mostly benefit from something like this?
There are lots of organizations that use search. In fact, just about everyone uses search. If you look at the statistics, the average person in an office setting is going to be spending 25% or more of their time searching for information. So we can easily make that not only more effective, but less unpleasant. The vast majority of people find the search that they have in their organization unpleasant, difficult to use, even to the point that many people quit their jobs over it. So there are certain use cases that we think are most relevant, but really it's part of every job. So I think we're trying hard to make it work for a large variety of use cases.
Thank you. So thank you for this. It was a blast chatting with you.